Hi there, this is Kevin with Roguedeckbuilder.com here with match number 1 in our Triple Journey into Nyx draft. This is a very keepable hand. We have a very aggressive hand. There's no way I'm going to keep our mulligan this, even though we are on the draw, which makes this hand a little weaker. I mean, this would be great having a 3-1 or a 2-1 out on the first turn, or second turn, before our opponent's second turn. But anywho, this definitely does work. Let's lead off here with a plains. I'm not going to like drawing any more lands. We have our 4 lands that we need. Next turn we can go ahead and once again chuck out that either Sigiled Skink or the Oresco Swiftclaw. Let's hope he doesn't put anything out here. He puts out a Aegis of the Gods. Alright, yeah, that pretty much shuts down any one of our creatures. So I'll just go a Sigiled Skink here. Or maybe I actually put out a Satyr Hoplite. I'm going to put out a Swiftclaw, and that way if he wants to attack in, I'll just make it. I might make a trade with that Aegis of the Gods. Or next turn actually attack in for a 3-1 and see if he wants to trade with any one of our guys. And then the turn after that, I can just throw a Flame Sacred Wheel on a Satyr Hoplite. So now I actually wish I would have led with a Mountain, because that definitely would have been the play. And we'd have a 3-3 Hoplite that could block his Aegis of the Gods. But I mean, we're still in great shape. Eventually, like those Fawn of Ires are going to be great to draw into late. Even though they do on the turn you draw them, it takes 6 to activate. But I'm thinking that. So he's another aggressive deck, so our Magma Sprays are going to come in. And this is tricky. Do I attack in or not? He doesn't decide to attack in. I think we're just going to go for like a huge launch the fleet. So I'm just going to go Satyr Hoplite. And a Satyr Hoplite, possibly. Or do I want to get it bigger? Or do we just go a Sigiled Skink here and just go for a huge launch the fleet and just overwhelm him? I think the Skink here is the right play. I won't attack in with the Swiftclaw because he'll just block with his Aegis. But that's going to be the game plan. He's stuck on 2 lands. He's had a play each turn, though, so I'm thinking he probably is another aggressive deck. So I didn't see much of the 1-3, the Sacrifice the Weavers, that bring in the 1-3 Reach Spiders, which is actually kind of like the bane to our deck. So, but again, that's a nice little card. Again, I think the right play is just to overwhelm him. And that's actually going to be a good card. Again, we're going to put it out this turn. So I'm going to go Satyr Hoplite. And Sightless Brawler. And we're going to go ahead and cast this on a Satyr Hoplite. And this way, if he wants to block, he has to lose 2 guys for 1. And I highly doubt he's going to make that block. Yeah, so we get in there for 3 damage. Do I want to destroy this? I think the answer is no. I think I just want the counter. Again, he's struggling with lands. We have a huge launch the fleet that's going to be able to target all of them. He can't equip it this turn and cast something. I think he's going to want to cast something here. But at this point, I think every damage counts. So next turn with a huge launch the fleet, which will put in 4. I mean, if we draw a land, we have no dead draw next turn, which is awesome. So even if we draw that land, that means we can target all of our guys, which will add 5 guys that are tapped and attacking. And eventually we can just overwhelm our opponent each turn for more damage and just rely on those eventually those fonts coming out. So that guy's definitely going to be annoying. And let's see if he actually utilizes it here. I'm hoping he does. I'm hoping he throws it on like his Stonewise Fortifier. And that way I've got a guy that, a guy that can actually... I do have to get rid of that guy. I forgot about that because I can't use the fonts as long as that thing's alive. Sweet, though. So it's going to 2 damage, but this is going to allow me to get in more damage to him. So we do get our land. So cast this. Here, 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 and here. So all 5 of them. Put counters on our guys. Make them bigger. We're going to be able to scry one, which will be amazing as well. Hopefully it finds a land that we can put on the bottom. And these put a bunch of 1/1s. A couple of 1/1s will die. Our Skink's going to definitely die to the 2/3. But again, at this point, I think, oh, we absolutely want that on top. It'll be our finisher. I could actually see him blocking the Stonewise on the Sightless Brawler. And I could even see the 2/3... Yeah, killing off the Hoplite. Okay. That'll allow us another scry the following turn. And now he's taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's taking 13. Oh, he's taking even more. Where I missed some damage with the tokens. Okay, so do I wish to sacrifice it to destroy his armory of Iros? No. No, that's fine. And he's going to have to hope for a miracle here to be able to block enough the following turn. And this is only to creatures, so prevent all damage to that would be dealt to target creature. So he wouldn't have 5 anyway to use it for if it did say player. So no fog effect coming from him. And it appears to me like we're going to be going on to game number 2. Again, without... I can't think of anything in the format that can really get him out of this. Most of the cards that I can think of would be in either Born of the Gods or Theros. And the card I'm thinking of is like Glimpse of the Sun God, but that can only tap down 3, and he'd still die. So, yeah, I'm thinking the concession will come pretty soon here. Again, we like the card that we have on top that he would have to find an immediate answer for. And he does go ahead and concede. So the cards that I am liking a lot, some of these cards get a lot weaker. Like these Skinks do get weaker. Flurry of the Horns actually seems very good. I didn't get to see enough of his deck, but Starfall needs to come in, and so does Magma Spray, because Starfall is definitely going to get some use. So I don't know if I can go down on creatures. I'm thinking the way to go is to cut a plains for another mountain and take out a Mortal Obstinacy. And maybe the Sightless Brawler is something I don't want. It could be... Or maybe even these Fawn of Ires. No, I definitely don't want to go on the Mortal Obstinacy because it's a way... The heroic triggers are definitely something. I'm going to take out 2 fonts. And I'm going to take out this Tethmos High Priest against his deck. For the Magma Sprays and Starfalls. I'm thinking that's going to be more powerful. And we'll put a plains back in. But Flurry of the Horns still seems like a great card versus him. It still seems like a great card in general for 5 mana. But again, we're a blitz strategy. I may completely switch that and go more of a mid-range strategy, but thinking this is still the right way to go. So we got 2 fonts here. I'm glad I cut the other fonts because that would be overkill. We got a Satyr Hoplite for our 1-drop. We got a Banishing Light to effectively kill or remove anything problematic in his deck. At this point, more lands are fine as well, as they cast our Banishing Light and Blade-Tusk Boar. So we really don't have many dead draws. And again, I'll make this trade if he wants to trade here, because that's going to be an annoying card. And he's just going to take the 1, which means I can just throw out a font and pass the turn to him. And if I have to Banishing Light that guy, I got to ban it. You know, it's something I'll definitely make that trade, because now we basically just have to get him down to a 10, and then he's on a 2-turn clock with the fonts. And I hope he does put on the Aegis of the Gods. Yeah. Because then I can definitely just Banishing Light it. Now, I wouldn't want to make this trade, would I? I mean, he would block, and it would not be worth. It's not worth it at all to kind of bluff that I have some sort of battle trick to really make the Grove Dancer worth killing here. I mean, I could launch the fleet, but for one, launch the fleet's not that great. And I think this card's actually decent enough to banish, and we need to. I mean, it's something that I've got to get rid of for the font. And so let's keep our other guy back. We have the Blade-Tusk Boar. We have a Launch the Fleet. We have ways to cast our Font of Ire. So again, he's really, we need to look at him as a 19 rather than, or a 9 rather than a 19. He could put out some pretty crazy stuff though with green. We saw some green, very good green cards. So this one, oh wow, okay, that is going to get really, really powerful. For each enchantment that comes into play. So actually I'm hoping for a Starfall here. Another Plains, definitely didn't want that. It's just going to be Blade-Tusk Boar. And again, we might end up losing this one. But next turn we'll have a Launch the Fleet, which will give us blockers, depending on how he attacks in here as well. Oh, that's just until end of turn. +1/+1 until end of turn. I thought that put a permanent 1/1 counter on something. All right, so that's not as strong as I initially thought. So I'm thinking we can race here, especially with him missing land drops. Flying Vigilance is going to be annoying. And look at the land flood. I'm tempted just to launch the fleet right now, but what we're going to do is we're just going to get in for a Blade-Tusk Boar. And we're gonna sacrifice a font, I believe. Because next turn we can actually cast a font and sack it, but if we put a font out right now, Yeah, I'm most likely just going to end up sacking that font, putting him down to an 11. So he hit his 4th land drop. That could get quite scary. He is pretty much can attack in with what he wants to. And I can't block it. So I'm probably taking between 5 to 7 damage. But again, it's a few turns away from just killing him here with the fonts. So, yeah, I'm going to take 6, go down to a 9. Yeah, here I'm just going to do 5 damage to him. Hope he doesn't have something in response to actually kill and get that back. He does not. There's a Johnny's Presence. I might just need to leave stuff back to block. Because what I could do here is I could get in for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could get in for 8, but then I would not have enough for the Font of Ire to finish him off. Do I wait a turn and just try to block? I mean, I'm going to get in for the Blade Tusk Boar. Or do I leave it back? And then Johnny's Presence puts a counter, makes the other one indestructible. It's indestructible and +1/+1 and indestructible until end of turn. This is going to be the right play because we just need to get in for 2 Blade Tusk Boar attacks. So there's no reason for the Satyr Hoplite. He's going to sack the Font of Fertility here, I'm sure, to find his 5th land. But we've got a blocker here that can block. Again, he's got to do 9 damage in 1 turn, which is, something that could easily happen in a green-white deck, especially with the amount of... I mean, there are some pretty good pump spells. I'm thinking most of the green pump spells are from Born of the Gods, like the 2 targets get +4/+4. I know that one's out of Born of the Gods. And the one that gets trampling when they deal damage. So yeah, this is most likely going to be the game here. As he cannot even deal with the amount of damage I'm going to do to him. So yeah, all he can do is 5 damage. He played his land, I believe. So it's just 5 damage. I don't even need to block. I can just use it to sacrifice the font. And I don't think there's much... Well, unless there's something in his hand that he could have casted. He said he didn't notice the Intimidate on the Blade Tusk Boar. But unless there's something in his hand that could have actually prevented this from going off. And then just untapping in the Blade Tusk Boar. I mean, this is just... It's overkill because we could just go boom on here and just attack in. So that's going to be a wrap. Just show you what we could have done here. Oops, I should have launched the fleet. but that'll be enough damage. And we'll go on to the next match. This has been Kevin with Roguedeckbuilder.com. Thanks for watching.